Thanks, Tony. Turned it off. Because I didn't want it recording me while I was, eating before when the other thing was playing. Either way, I'm playing To Be or Not to Be. It's a game based on Hamlet, but you can be other people and solve your father's murder. Or if you play your father, you can solve your own murder, which should be relatively easy considering you should know who did it. Either who. Now I'll jump into the game. Thanks, Tony. What a guy. What a guy. What a guy. Alright. Game's up. And... now the trick is this. There it is. Music that goes with the game. There. Alright. We're all set. It is early, Tony. It is. I just finished my cereal. Also, if anybody remembers how to get into my old phone, that would be super. I forgot what pattern I used to use because I've changed mine up now a few times. Plus my phone is being super slow. Either, I guess I'll leave that for another time. Maybe I'll stream that. Either, Tin Man Games presents. Click anywhere or press the A button to get into the story. I will click anywhere. With the assistance of Screen Australia. Ooh, car things are exciting, Tony. Car things are exciting. To be or not to be? That is the question.
William Shakespeare, 1564 AD to whenever he died, was well known for borrowing from existing literature when writing his plays.
All right.
Romeo and Juliet is pretty much lifted entirely from Arthur Brooks' poem, The Tragical History of Romulus and Juliet. Dude didn't even change the names. And as recent Shakespeare scholarship has established, the famed play William Shakespeare Presents Hamlet was lifted wholesale from the volume you are about to enjoy. To Be or Not to Be. To Be or Not to Be is both the earliest recorded example of the books as game genre, as well as the first instance ever in the then newish English language that was kicking around of an adventure being chosen by you, the reader. We've gone ahead and added illustrations, plus we've taken the liberty of marking with tiny York skulls the choices Shakespeare himself made when he plagiarized his book back in olden times. They're there in case you wish to put yourself in Shakespeare's shoes, reading this book as he did, stealing plot elements wholesale, and classing up the language as he/you went/go. However, that is not the only way to read this book. Feel free to explore your other options, as each time you read this book, you
Very
go on
good
a different
vote.
adventure.
As an English
Assuming
major,
you
my
don't
heart
read
is
the
dying
book
a little, but
3 quadrillion times, at which point the adventures will start to repeat, and they'll probably seem pretty familiar long before then anyway. Now, take yourself back to history, when ghosts walked the earth and nobody knew velociraptors were even a thing. Steel yourself to experience the magic of Shakespeare as it was meant to be experienced, in a non-deterministic narrative structure, where you end up thinking maybe you made a wrong decision, so you mark the pages you were just on, so you can always go back and make a different choice if you die for something.
oh, I always did that on Choose Your Own Adventure books.
To be or not to be, that is the adventure. Choose your character. Man, what if I just read the acknowledgements instead?
Choose my character, I guess.
You have just been born.
Congratulations.
Good work on that thing. Now, surprise! Babies are boring, so we're going to jump ahead in time to a point where you're an adult, and you've already lived a bunch of your life. But I promise most of what we're skipping over was really dull. You ate a lot, and slept a lot, and made some friends, tears were shed, makeouts were totally had, etc. It was a bunch of high school stuff. The awesome stuff starts now.
Oh my god,
So,
Hamlet and Shakespeare.
Let's begin, my friend.
Hamlet in high
Remind me again
school.
who you are. Are you Ophelia? She's an awesome lady in her late 20s with a calm, competent, and resourceful demeanor. She's got a +1 bonus to science, but she's also got a -1 weakness against water, so heads up. Hamlet? He's an emo teen in his early 30s. Also, he's the Prince of Denmark. Hamlet has a +1 resistance to magic, but there's no magic in this adventure, so this never gets mentioned again as of right now. Hamlet Sr.? He's the King of Denmark, 50 years old. He's super good at fighting and leading men into battle in naps. Let's say +1 to each? Look, bottom line, he's an unstoppable machine of death, and should you choose to be him, you may experience kingly glory. Play as Ophelia. Play as Hamlet. Play as Hamlet Sr.
We will go with Hamlet. I don't want to go
You
too
are
far
Hamlet.
off the mark.
You're 30 years old and you're back living at home, but it's okay, because your home is a castle. That's right, ladies. You're a prince. Things have been rough lately. You had been trying to focus on your studies at Wittenberg University, where you and your bros, Horatio Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, all hang out. But you were called home because your father died. Then, your dead dad's brother, Claudius, married your mom, Gertrude, 2 weeks later. Yep, it's made you kind of upset. You raced home to comfort her, but she's married your uncle, and that is weird. You feel weird. Right now,
I wish we
you're
would
in
have
the
studied
audience
like this in
chamber of
high
your father's
school.
castle, here in sunny Denmark. King Claudius is here, addressing his court. Laertes and Polonius are here too. Laertes is kind of a jerk, and Polonius is his father. Polonius is also the father of Ophelia, whom you're totally sweet on. She's not here though. Who knows what adventure she's having as we speak, while you're stuck in this drafty castle room listening to other people talk about their feelings. Speaking of speaking, just now Laertes says something about how now that Claudius is king, and he's attended the coronation, is it okay for him to go back to France? Claudius says, sure. Wait a minute. You'd love
Bye,
to leave
Tony.
too and go back to school, away from this weird incesty thing your mother's gotten herself into. It's so gross and weird. Ask Claudius for permission to go back to school. Hold your tongue and just wait around.
Oh, choices.
You stay silent, but King Claudius addresses you anyway. He says he's king now and it's time for you to stop mourning, as your father is dead and everyone has to die sometime, right? Man up, he says. Walk it off, he says. Drop me a letter about it at Not My Problem, No. 1, Cheer Up Already Lane, Dopesville, Denmark, he says. Your mom agrees with him, and then when they're done insulting you, they leave. You kinda wish you'd insulted him when you had the chance. In the meantime, you're alone in an empty council room and feeling pretty sad. An empty room offers a ton of possibilities, which include things you can do inside this empty room, such as talk to yourself about how your life is in ruins and how everything just sucks. Leave the room. You're finally home, and it's been weeks since you embarked. Sit on the throne as the Prince of Denmark. Okay, you sit on the throne, and since I like you, I'm going to describe your situation in rhyming verse.
Oh, yes.
Now this was going to be a story all about how your life got flipped, turned upside down, but instead you're going to sit your butt down in this chair and ignore how you're really Denmark's rightful heir. Whoa! My flow is so awesome that it infects even you. You begin rapping to yourself about yourself. Here's the lyrical truth you lay down. In West Denmark, I was born and raised. On a battlefield is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out with dad, time stabbing all the fools and all sword fighting Norwegians outside of my school when a couple of armies, they were up to no good, started repulsing our invasion of their neighborhood. Dad died one little time and my mom got scared and said, I'm marrying your dad's brother, but we weren't having an affair. You feel like you could keep spitting some extremely tight rhymes, but you also feel like you've brought yourself pretty much up to speed on your own life. Well done, Prince Hamlet. You certainly are fresh. Continue sitting on the throne. While you're busy doing that, your friend Horatio bumps into you and tells you A. He's in town for your dad's funeral / mom's wedding, and that they serve leftover appetizers from one at the other. B. Ghosts are real. C. He's seen one and so have a bunch of other guys. D. It keeps showing up at the same time, and E. He's pretty sure it's the ghost of your dad. Finally, some adventure, some closure. You agree that you'll come with him tonight to see the ghost when it shows up again. It's such an obvious decision that it kind of feels like you don't even have a choice in the matter. Agree to go with Horatio tonight to see the ghost when it shows up again. I'll be there, 11:30 sharp, you say, and Horatio leaves, satisfied. Well, now you have 8 hours to blow before it's time to meet ghosts. What do you want to do, Hamlet? Be Ophelia for a while. Play solitaire. You, Hamlet, Prince of all Denmark, are now sitting in your bedroom and playing solitaire for hours and hours and hours and hours, which is a pretty colossally useless waste of your time, especially since you keep cheating. 5 goes on top of a 3? Hamlet, really? Anyway, at this point, we're 15 games in, and wow, if you're not careful, people might start saying that your tragic flaw is, I don't know, inaction. Eventually the sun goes down, and it's almost 11:30, which hopefully you remember as the appointed hour Horatio told you about, wherein a ghost keeps showing up to bother him. Time to go meet that ghost, huh? Meet up with Horatio and bust some myths about actual ghosts being real. You and Horatio go to where he saw the ghost the first time. Now we play the waiting game, says Horatio. He's interrupted by the sound of trumpets. You look at him and raise an eyebrow. They make that noise to warn everyone that King Claudius is getting wasted, he says. Those trumpets go off every night around this time. He sighs. Denmark, he says. At that exact moment, something insanely crazy happens. What the frig? I'll tell you what the frig. A ghost is here. Don't freak out, but right now you're staring cold in the face of a specter. You can't even imagine how crazy this whole situation is. If you're getting too scared, read this next clause over and over until you're not insane with fear anymore. Everything will be okay. Alright, okay, we can do this. With your last shred of sanity, you quickly glance at the ghost, and then you worry that if you stare at the ghost too hard, your brain will realize it's looking at something so insanely impossible that you'll just black out. Anyway, this ghost. You can see through it, but only a little. It's weird. And I'll tell you what the frig else. This ghost does look like your dad, and he's getting closer. Stare at the ghost intently and black out as your mind shuts down. Don't stare at the ghost too intently and try to figure out what it wants. Run away. You stare at the ghost intently and your brain shuts down, and you collapse, unconscious. Surprise? You are now the ghost. Before you is the unconscious body of your son Hamlet. It looks like maybe he tripped too many balls. Yes, that's definitely what happened. There were a lot of balls lying around and Hamlet tripped on one too many of them. Maybe several. Bottom line, too many balls were definitely tripped. Right here. You expected more from your son than this. To be precise, you expected to be able to tell him that you were murdered by your brother, and that he should, revenge your death? Instead, you're staring at a dude you can't even touch. You stick a finger inside Hamlet's head thinking that maybe if you can touch his brain, he'll wake up. But brains don't work that way, at least not with immaterial fingers made out of ectoplasm or whatever. And you don't make your fingers solid, which is good, because that definitely
would have killed him.
Wait for him to wake up. See if there's anyone else you can tell about your murder. You look around and see Hamlet's friend Horatio nearby. He looks like he's freaking out. Hey, you say. Listen. Horatio, right? Listen, don't freak out. He seems to freak out a little less. That's good. Hey, when Hamlet wakes up, can you tell him my own brother murdered me? You ask. Tell him I'm looking for a little revenge. Horatio nods meekly. If he doesn't want to do it, then I'll make sure to revenge you, Mr. Your Majesty's ghost, sir. Just sir is fine, you say, smiling in what you hope is a reassuring way. You look at Horatio for a moment. Well, great, you say. Perfect. Horatio looks at you. You look at him. He scuffs his feet a little. So, I guess that's it, you say. With my unfinished work now, finished, I suppose it's time for me to die for real now. You You fade away in a shimmering light, certain that with Hamlet's intensity and Horatio's probable competence at actually achieving goals, you'll be revenged in no time. What could possibly go wrong, right? Exactly. This is most assuredly 100% solved for real. It's too bad you couldn't stick around to watch the revenging go down, but you don't make the rules. Hey, I guess you're about to find out who, if anyone, does. The end.
Choices made 13 times you were 0 times you were not 0. You created a better story than Shakespeare. Well, that's pretty exciting. That's kind of funny. I dig it. Okay. So that was to be or not to be, and that was a whole 20 minutes. I might do another one at some other time. Oh, don't actually. Okay, good. Yeah, I might do another one some other time. But definitely, if you're kind of a fan of Shakespeare, that's a fun game. That's a fun little visual novel, as it were, and a choose your own adventure one at that, which is awesome. Okay, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to switch my games up here, but to do so, I'm going to go offline. I'm going to get myself a coffee. I'm going to come back, and then we're going to play something else. And give me a second. I'll tell you what it is. Well, I'm waiting for my Steam to open up and everything to happen here. I'm going to tell you right now, go check out our website because a new Graham's Watches just came out at 9:30, so 19 minutes ago. Go check it out. It's going to be awesome. He watches the King Kong trailer, the Kong Island trailer. Excuse me. He watches the Kong Island trailer, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah, go check that out, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay? So, ba-bam! Bye, everybody! I'll be back.